Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel, JPM.Cuisine. Today, I have something very special for you guys. Something I never thought I'd ever be able to review, but luckily for us, we have one to look at. This is the I.O.Shen by MasterGrade, the 300mm or 12-inch butcher steak knife, also known as the Scimitar. This is a monster. Let's go ahead and check it out. So again, it's 300mm, 12 inches. It's a mixture of Japanese and European styling. It has Erdon 62 sandwiched between two layers, or one layer on each side of Erdon 10. And you wonder why I have gloves? Well, because with how we're gonna test this knife. It also has an ebonite handle. So let's go ahead and get this opened up. Apologize for it getting out of camera view, but it's a little bit large. So plastic case, move that to the side, open up our knife and remove it from the packaging. We've got a tip protector here, and we have this unique style butcher's knife. So we've got the what they call Rockwell 10. It's the Erdon type material. If anyone knows what that is or is familiar, I'd love to hear your comments on it, but it's a Rockwell 62 in the center with 10 on each side. And this is a specialty knife. So hopefully you guys can see it. It's got the Tai Tang handle, which is the tang that runs fully through with a single rivet here, but is actually embedded within the tang. So that's why they call it the Tai Tang. And we've just got a little bit of scuffing from the tip protector. We've got, if you can see, there is a clear delineation between the slicing. I guess this is the Japanese style part of the knife here, and the European style begins here. A much different contour profile. This one is built for splitting medium to small bones or crunching through them, whereas this is your ideal slicing part. It is balanced right along that heel where the choil is and that little indentation is, so that's pretty cool. For it being a 12-inch, the edge is probably off camera, but not too bad. We've got the ebonite handle with some sort of rounding on it. We've got a polished spine, not necessarily rounded off, but definitely not sharp. We've got the fatter end towards the butt and more of a rounded belly, not necessarily as contoured. And I've never used a knife like this. I've used slicers in the past, so we'll see how this one performs. We've got a few tests for it, but main thing that we're going to talk about is the difference between these two style of grinds and how they perform. So first thing we'll do is we'll talk about the weight. So for a 300mm or 12-inch knife, we're looking at 327 grams. Make sure that's, yeah, 327 is where it looks like we're sitting at. I don't have any tomatoes to cut with this because I don't think you're gonna get any real benefit from seeing this cut through a tomato. I wouldn't use it to cut through a tomato, but I do wanna use some paper because I wanna talk about these two different edges. They look very different in the profile. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this has a much wider, maybe a softer profile. Doesn't appear to have as much of a sharp edge on it versus this, which looks immaculately designed for slicing. And you can see where the ground runs across with a taper, and we have that center line to distinguish between the two ends. This one definitely is different. So with some magazine paper, we'll use the tip to cut. Oh, as I ruined that, always. So we can see that the tip is extremely razor sharp through with push cuts. And then on the back half, let's see. That was on there. We have a little bit of sharpness, but it's not very consistent through, especially right around here. So it's a very inconsistent grind on that, but I mean, it is designed to go through bone as opposed to go through paper or delicate cuts or to slice through tomato. So I mean, that definitely tears, but then this first half is just immaculate for slicing. What will we do with something like this? We're gonna bring in a boneless ribeye, in which we're gonna cut some steaks with. How's that sound? Okay, so here I have a boneless ribeye with the cap, or with the fat cap on it. This is what I would typically use to cut into steaks. And to do so, I would normally use my 12-inch or 14-inch slicers that I have. Here we have a 12-inch kind of a slicer, and we'll see how it performs. Typically, I'll cut about 1.5 to 2-inch steaks here. Looking at this, I probably can get about, looks like right here is going to be where my split is. I'm just going to slice my first steak here. Okay. So normally I'll just draw through, and wow, that is very sharp. Okay. So I try to minimize the seesaw action back and forth in order to get a nice clean cut. Using the majority of this part of the knife, and then this right here you can sort of cut through. The tip here is going to reach on your board, so you're not going to be able to get that much leverage off of it. So you're going to want to try to pull across like that. Go ahead and move this steak out of the way. I'll play with this piece right here. Okay. So what we're going to do is roughly split this one in half and make a steak. Now, I'm using gloves. The handle is a little slippery, but it's not too bad. We're just gonna try to find the even spot. So that's about 2 inches right there. Here we go, we're gonna cut through. Just slice. Oh. Normally I have a lot more leverage because I'm sitting or standing over it, but there we go. That's not too bad. Pretty clean. Here's where I had to change the direction, but I mean, we cut through the fat, no problem. Let's go ahead and do a trim on this one, and we'll just end up playing with the knife a little bit. Not a very long or a very long review, but typically with these fat parts, I like to put them in the Instant Pot and break them down into a tallow. So I usually will just trim off a little bit. I'll leave a little bit of fat, not necessarily that much, but we'll just cut it straight across here. Okay, and I mean, it's razor sharp up there, so that cuts through really well. And then with this, we've got some meat here that we can save and use something else with that. And we'll just cut through this fat a little bit. So cutting through it with this, again, the heel here is gonna get stuck. So you'll draw through. You don't wanna cut through here, but you can actually use the full length. It has enough of an edge here that it will pierce, and then once you hit that cut, that halfway line there, or that little indention there, is when you'll see it actually starts doing the majority of the cutting. So right here we have a little bit of meat. Save that. Okay, and we'll just cut through, just trimming. And so I am sitting down. It's kind of awkward. You're not going to be doing that. You're going to get a lot more leverage than I'm getting with this knife, because you're not going to be sitting down. But I mean, pretty fancy, pretty cool knife for what it is, for what it does. It's a little unique, a little awkward, and not awkward, but definitely unique. Maybe awkward to hold because of some of the ergonomics on it. But all in all, it's a very cool knife. Appreciate I.O.Shen sending this one out to review and look at. I mean, it's gonna take some getting used to. I'm gonna give this one a try, and I'll let you guys know how sort of it performs over time. But right now, it's pretty cool and pretty unique. Very interesting knife. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this review. I know it's kind of a quick one. Just wanted to see it in action for you guys. All right, with that, we'll see you in the next one.